Hello folks, welcome to another chess time with FOKS, and today we'll be taking a step forward in our chess game as we continue learning from where we stopped in the last video, and I believe that you've been having fun. Yes, so let us get right into it. Hello once again. So welcome to today's video, and like I said in the previous video, I've said that we'll be looking at the king, and remember that the king is the person, the almighty, right? Like we could say that all of these pieces are protecting. That means whatever we said about the pawn, whatever we've said about the rook, about the knight, about the bishop, and about the queen, all of them are working together to protect this man right here, right? It's very ironic. So it would interest you to say that the king is not as powerful as any of the species, or let me say maybe not as powerful as most of the species, right? The only piece you could say that the king has an upper hand than would be the pawn. Why do I say that? The king does not have any basic movement. Now, like I do explain to kids, imagine the king to be an old man, an elderly man, maybe someone working with maybe a working head or something. Imagine that kind of man jumping or leaping or trying to run. No, it would be, except for maybe someone into calisthenics or something, but even at a particular age, there will be a limitation, right? So imagine the king to be like that, an old man who doesn't have much strength and all of that, and someone who just takes one step at a time. In fact, imagine the king, someone like someone that is trying to tiptoe into somewhere or somehow. You get the picture. That means that the king cannot either run, cannot jump like the knight, can equally not maybe fly around like the queen. Now the king is simple. The king, let us assume the king is here. Now let me tell you a secret before we delve right into that. When you are arranging your board, now there'll be another episode on this channel where we'll be talking about the arrangement of the pieces, because I believe that a lot of people mix up all of that. Remember we said that this is called our files, right? And this is our rank, where you see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This is our ranks, and these are our files. So remember, anytime you are arranging the chessboard, the king will always be on the E file, both for the white side and the dark side. So the E file always has the king. A lot of people mix it up. A lot of people, in arranging the piece, they'll put the king here, they'll put the queen here, and that would disrupt the whole momentum of the game. So the king is always on the E file and the queen on the D file. The same way, you see the king is always on the E file and like this. And of course, there's always a symbol right here, just like the cross, that always distinguishes the king. So now, let us assume the king is here. The king has a very simple move. Just like the pawn, the king can only take a step at a time. However, why the king is different from the pawn is that while the pawn only moves forward and can never cross, but we say there is an exception, that the pawn can capture any piece staying adjacent it, right? But the king can move any square close to it. It means the king can move one square to the side, it can move one square to the right, can move one square diagonally, it can move one square to the back, one square diagonally as well, and it can also move one square forward, one square like this, and one square like this. It seems like magic, but it's simple. Imagine the king to be here. Imagine having a square around it. That is just all there is about the king. The king can only move one square to the immediate square beside it. It can move here, it can move here, it can move here, it can move here, it can also move here, it can move here, it can move here, and can move here. So anywhere around this square, the king cannot move. That means the king cannot move from this side to this side. That means it is jumping a square to the next square, 2 squares. That is impossible. That is just the rule of the game. I'm sure many of you will have questions that why is it like that? Why can't the king be powerful? Especially if you watch movies where the king is always the one commanding. Well, that's why we have the armies. The armies can do all they can to protect the king, to defend the king, to do different things. So don't bother yourself about how the king moves. So we could say the pawn and the king, they have a bit of similarities. That is, they can only move 1 square at a time. However, the difference is, while the pawn can only move forward, the king can move sideways and any square around it. That is all about the king. Remember, we've treated how the pawn moves, how the rook moves, how the knight moves, how the bishop moves, how the queen moves, and today we've seen how the king moves. And what that equally means is the king is also capable of capturing any piece around it, just in the same square where he is meant to move to. Now, what do I mean? Let's just assume this guy moves here, opening up a piece. It means because the king has the capacity of moving 1 square at a time, it means the king can capture. That is, peradventure, the king was here. But remember, the king cannot jump from here to this side. That was just a demo. That means the king can capture any piece surrounding it. Let's say there is this guy. Remember, the bishop moves diagonally, right? That means both of them are here. And let's say there is, let's say the rook is here. It means the king can capture this, can move forward that to capture this. But of course, from here, the king cannot jump to capture this. It would have to move here first. And if guy still remains there and does not run away, and maybe plays another piece like this, maybe plays like this, it means you can go ahead to capture from that. That is just how it is. That means if you are playing only with the king. So that will be the end of today's lesson. Remember to go back to our previous videos and learn about all of those pieces. Henceforth, since we've treated all of this, we'll be looking at a couple of things as far as the game of chess is concerned. Remember, when we started, I said we'll be looking at strategies, techniques, even how to play. Now, maybe you could try to play some games. Remember, you could go to Lichess, you could go to chess.com, download. You can actually download or install the app on Play Store, Google Store, or whichever way, and start playing in a simple way. Play with the boards and just find a way to practice what you've been learning so far. Learn how each of the pieces move, know how to actually play with each of them. But we'll start looking at some things. For example, in chess, there is what we call en passant. You will learn what that means. There's something we call castling. What exactly is castling? How do I work with castling? And there are lots of other things that we would be learning. So stay tuned on this channel, because this is not the end. We are just right about now beginning to play the game of chess. So I remain, folks. See you in the next one.